we're just going to apply that there. Again, like water. Those two are very, very similar. Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be comparing these two babies right here. So the Anastasia Sultry palette, and I'm going to be comparing it to the Alter Ego Temptress palette. I did play around with this yesterday. I loved the look that I created, but the footage was just not the best. My husband was mowing the lawn, there was a lot of traffic going on, and I was just like, ugh. So let's get into the video. All right, so going in with the L'Oreal Infallible Full Coverage Concealer, we're gonna go in with the shade Latte, and we're just going to use this as a base for our eyeshadows. Going in with the Makeup Shack Small Contouring Brush, I'm just going to blend that in. So I didn't talk about what I'm going to do. So this side is going to be the Anastasia side, and this side is going to be the Alter Ego side. And we're just going to be using the same colors, well, the similar colors. And I don't have the exact same brushes for each side, but I did try my best to get almost the same brushes. So again, Anastasia and the Alter Ego Temptress palette. So here's just a close-up of the two palettes and how similar these two look. It's freaking nuts, you guys. The placement of the eyeshadows are not the exact same, but they did scatter them out. But looking at it, you can automatically you already know, like, oh, that's that. So the first shade we will be using is Bloom, and I will be using a Carroty blending brush. We're just going to apply that just directly in our crease. Okay, going in with the Temptress palette, picking up the shade Blush, but just the same as Bloom. Going in with the Morphe G24 brush, and we're just going to add that in the same spot as the other shade. The Anastasia is definitely a little bit more of a lighter, kind of like a hot pink compared to the Temptress one. And the Temptress one is just like a little bit more deeper. Going into the Anastasia palette, I will be picking up Birch using a Morphe G17, and we're just going to lightly apply this just at the edge of where we placed Bloom. And since I've already played with the palette, I did notice that with the Anastasia palette, it just have a little bit more of a kickback compared to the Alter Ego. The Alter Ego doesn't really have a lot of, compared to the Anastasia. With the Anastasia, you dip the brush in and you can kind of see like the powderiness forming on the eyeshadow, versus when you do that with the Alter Ego. It's just, I don't know, something I thought I would mention. Nothing too bad where it's like, oh my gosh, it doesn't take away from the eyeshadow at all, but I did notice that. Okay, now going into the Alter Ego palette, picking up the shade Lust, and I will be using the Makeup Shack T93, and we're just going to add that at the edge as well. Now going back into the Anastasia palette, I will be picking up this shade right here. Going back in with the Carroty brush, E31, and I'm just going to just lightly add that. Like, this is so freaking pigmented. If you add a little bit too much, it will just seriously take away from the look. But I'm just going to just lightly apply that at the edge, and then lightly bring it in right here. But I don't want to bring it in too far, so I'm just focusing this shade just out here. And also what I've noticed with Anastasia compared to the Alter Ego is that this kind of has more of like a warm undertone versus Anastasia, where it's more of a cool tone palette. Now going back in with the Temptress palette, picking up After Hours, and I'm using the Morphe G24. Same thing, be very careful. These are very pigmented. Just going to focus it right here and then lightly bring it in just a little bit, not all the way. So I did make a mess right there. I'm just going to clean that up because it is going to bother me. Okay, now going in with this really pretty shade right here. It is Ritz. Ritz is such a gorgeous shade. I freaking adore that shade. So going in with that shade using a Morphe T48, and we're just going to apply that on our lid. Now going back in with the blush shade using a Luxie 229, and we're just going to lightly bring that up right there. Okay, now going back into the Anastasia, going in with Cinder using a Makeup Check T37, and we're just going to apply that all over our lid. Right away you can tell the difference between this one compared to this one. This one's more of a bronze and this one's more of a warm sort of bronze shade. I'm gonna go on with my finger just to give it a little bit more of a pop. Okay, so I'm gonna dip into Bloom with a Morphe small tapering blush. Now going in with the shade Fresh using an e.l.f. contouring brush. Just going to apply that just at the edge of my eyebrow. And just to kind of warm that up just a little bit, I will be dipping back into Birch. Okay, now go back into the Alter Ego, picking up Lace with an LA Girl 205 brush. Just going to apply that at the edge. Same thing, I'm going to be dipping back into Lust. Now going in with After Hours, going to lightly apply it just at the edge. And I'm using a Makeup Check T93. Now going in with this shade right here from the Anastasia palette. I do want to go in and add highlight right here using the Smashbox and Vladia. And I'm just going to add that right here. So I really like how this really shines. Yeah, I like how that looks. Picking up a little bit of this Rose Quartz. Just going to add it right there as well. I'm not going to switch the brush on this because I'm not really focused on just that particular shade. Now going in with Champagne. And I'm just going to add it right there. Yeah, Champagne pops a little bit more on this one compared to this one. Just like very little. So these are the lashes that I will be applying. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our under eyes. Going in with the ABH palette, I am going to pick up this shade right here using an LA Girl 206 brush. And we're just going to lightly add that right underneath. Then we're gonna go in with the shade Bloom and mix that in there. I am going to pick up the shade Rose Quartz, that same brush, and we're just going to add that right there. Okay, now going in with After Hours, blush, and Champagne. We're going to do the same thing. Going in with the Royal Nickel smudger brush. Now dipping into Champagne. Very similar. Okay, so my makeup's all done. Everything is done. Looking at the eyes, you cannot. I feel like you cannot spot the difference. I feel like you don't know that I'm rocking a $16 eyeshadow palette over here and a $45 over here. Like, I feel like honestly, you really can't tell the difference. Even yesterday when I was playing around with it, my brother came in and we were like just talking and stuff. And what eye looks more expensive?
I want to say that side.
This side? This side? This is a $16 eye. This one is the $40 eye.
Shit.
I don't know. He could not spot the difference. He honestly thought this one was the Anastasia one just because of how this color right here on the lid popped a little bit more. But you can't, like, you really can't. Like, if I were to go out and, you know, ask everybody like, hey, what I should, what one, they would not know the difference. So would I recommend playing with this one? Hell yeah. It's going to definitely save you the money, of course. And I'm not taking away from the Anastasia creating such an amazing palette. Like, I'm not taking away from it, but not everyone can afford a $45 palette, and some who can, and they just don't want to, you know, spend that money. They can save the money and, you know, get a $16 palette and get more palettes. Why not? It's not always about like, oh, they can't afford it. No, it's just sometimes, you know, we want to spend our money in other places, or, you know, you want to bargain, that sort of thing. I feel like they're very similar. Some shades are a little bit more cool tone in the Anastasia compared to the Temptress palette, but I feel like it's just like the slightest difference where you won't even, you can't like, even looking at it, you're just like, I'm just like, holy wow, it's really spot on, where it's just like, dang, this is a dupe. Like, this is, when I think of dupe, I think of something like this, you know, and it's just wow. So I'm gonna go in by one swatching them so you guys can see the colors. So we're gonna go in with Whisper from the Temptress palette, and here is Whisper. Now I'm gonna go into Slate from the Anastasia. So the Anastasia is more of a cool tone gray, and I feel like the Temptress is more of a lighter gray. It's a lighter gray. Is there anything such as like a warm tone gray? I don't know. So now we're gonna go in with Lust, and Lust for sure is a warmer brown for sure. Fingers clean. And now we're gonna go into Birch. I'm gonna go back in again, just so you guys can see. And Birch is more of a cool tone. Do you see? More of a cool tone brown. Now we're gonna go in with Blush. And you guys seen this on the eye too. This is more of a deeper pink than it is with Bloom. So Bloom is more of like a hot pink. See? It's more of a hot pink compared to the Temptress. Now going in with Guilt. Guilt is such a pretty, it's just like butter, you guys, how it goes on. Like, look at that. So freaking beautiful. Like, look at that. Oh my gosh. That is gorgeous. And then we're gonna go in with Steampunk. And Steampunk too, it's just so freaking buttery. Look at that. Ooh. So beautiful. Those two are very similar in color, but it's just like a sliver of a different, like, Anastasia is more of a warm gold, and Temptress is more of that, more of like a bronze. If that makes sense. I suck at explaining things. So now we're gonna go in with Uptown. And here is Uptown. It's kind of like a grayish brown. And then we're gonna go in with Twig. And there is Twig, and Twig is more of like a grayish brown, more of a cool tone brown compared to the Temptress. So now we're gonna go in with Sterling. Sterling is such a pretty silver shade. And here that is right there. They just glide on like butter, you guys. Look at that. Now going in with the Anastasia one. I can't pronounce that name, but it's the silver one. And we're just going to apply that there. Again, like butter. Those two are very similar. Like very similar. So there's some of the shades there. I will be swatching more, of course. Oh, let me see if I can swatch the blacks on top. Okay, so going in with Sterling. It's like charcoal. So there's Sterling. Then we're gonna go in with the Anastasia Noir. And those two are very similar as well. It's just like, so here are the shades up close. It's kind of hard to spot, like, wow, like, are they that different? You know what I mean? Like, maybe like the browns, but it's just like it's just a slight difference where it's just like, is it really that big of a deal sort of thing? You know what I mean? Okay, so now let's go on to the other shades. So we're gonna go in with Lace. Can I just say, I love it when palettes put in a bone shade. Freaking love that. So here is Lace. Then we're going to go in with Fresh. Very similar as well. I'm just like, Okay, then we're gonna go in with Seduction. Over here, so there's Seduction. Then we're gonna go in with Pearl. I feel like the Anastasia, it's very crumbly on some shades. So my palette looks pretty beat up. So there's that one. Those two very, very similar. Then we have Champagne, and Champagne is one of the colors that we did use today. There's Champagne. Then we have Rose Quartz. There is Rose Quartz. Rose Quartz has more of a pinky tone in the Anastasia. And then with the Temptress, it's more of kind of a goldish pink. Slight difference, slight difference. Then we have Mistress. And with Mistress, it does have some pink in here. Like just like a hint of pink in the Temptress one. Just like a hint of pink. It's just like interesting. Like a hint of pink, I'm telling you. And then with that one is Ember. And with this one, it's more of a greenish, kind of, I want to say like greenish. It's more of a deeper bronze shade. I feel like those two, again, slight difference. And then with this one, it does, the pink in the Anastasia is not that visible and there's not too much of it. And then I feel with the Temptress palette, they have more of the pink in there. Then we have Ritz, which is the beautiful color that we applied today all over our lid, which is my favorite. And Ritz is so beautiful and buttery, and it's just very like in your face, very, it pops, like it really does, it really pops on the lid. And then we have Cinder over here, and let's just apply that underneath. And this one is just, again, a hint of a difference in color, just a hint. Let me just remove this. A hint. It's more kind of like has like a slight pink in there, just a slight pink, kind of towards like a bronzy color instead. And then we have After Hours, is really deep cocoa brown black shade, or you can even use this as an eyebrow color. So there's that one. These shine so beautifully that when I'm showing you guys, I can kind of see like the light hitting it, just a beautiful glare. And then we have, which one was it? After Hours, okay. Then we have this one right here, which this one is more, it's a deep brown too. Let me just add another coat. Temptress is more of a warm, and then Anastasia is more of a deep, deep brown. Then last but not least, we have Desire, which is a really pretty bronze color. And I really love how it's just like the light picks it up so beautifully. So this is the bronze shade that is just beautiful. Do you see that? They're just so beautiful. And then that one is Teak. When I rub my finger in the palette, it makes more of a mess. Doesn't mean the palette is not good, but it makes more of a mess, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then here is the Anastasia one, which is a deeper bronze, not as light as the Temptress one. It's just like a slight difference. Like it's starting to bug me because I'm just like slight. It's just a slight difference. And then here is the Temptress of me dipping into that one. not making as much mess. So if that kind of bothers you, what about the Anastasia one, or you know, whatever palettes, the Temptress one doesn't really do that. So here are the shades for that. Yes, slight difference. Those are all the swatches. You guys let me know. Can you guys tell a difference? Is it just like, is it that big of a difference where you're like, nope, it's not the same? Or is it like, yeah, that's a dupe? Let me know down below what you guys think. Do I recommend the Temptress palette? Yes, I do. 16 bucks is a steal. You guys can't. That's good. 16 bucks. That's like way freaking good. Way freaking good, especially because of the payoff. Just how everything is. It's just very beautiful. It wasn't like there wasn't a shade that didn't work for me or anything. Everything was very, very nice and blended beautifully. So if you're into dupes, or you know, you want to like, you know, look into other palettes, or you're about saving money, 16 bucks, you cannot beat it. I honestly did not think it was going to dupe it out the way it did. I was just like, okay, damn. Like, look, here is this side versus this side. It's like the smallest. You can't even tell, like you can't even tell it. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like these type of videos, definitely let me know down below. Give me a big thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this video. Te quiero mucho, you guys. Besos a todos, and I'll see you guys in my next video. But make sure to let me know down below if you can spot the difference. Let me know. Yeah, down below. It's just like hypes me up, because $16, you guys, versus $45 is just like, wow. So yeah, let me know. Bye.